It's going to be a very short one, but very intense. My name is Sediko Rakolote. I am the founder and the trustee of the Progressive Socio-Economic Investment Institute. It is the institute that organized this webinar. We call it the National Conference of Boyfriends and Husbands. And what prompted this webinar is that, if you can check, every year there has been an imaginary conference of boyfriends and husbands before Valentine's Day. And it's organized by, that imaginary conference is organized by an organization called NAHAP. So they organize an imaginary conference to discuss things imaginary. They don't have that conference, but they just imagine themselves being in a conference. So we are challenging all men, boys and men, boyfriends and husbands, to come out and start speaking instead of having imaginary conferences. If we've got challenges, let's come out and speak. We cannot win the war against gender-based violence, patriarchy, masculinity, oppression, and also that oppression of men if we don't come out and speak. So this is the start. It is the first conference. It will happen again next year. On the 13th of February, we'll have it a day before Valentine's until it keeps up the momentum. The purpose is for all the boyfriends and the husbands to come out and speak on their challenges that they are having in life. Either economic challenges, either health challenges, either any form of challenge that you are having. It's time for us to come and talk. I want to declare that we have got over 54 registered people for this conference, and most of them chickened out. So participation now, only 3 people turned up. So this is a sign that some of us men are cowards. We can register that you're going to attend the conference and chicken out. And I think what made most of the men to chicken out is the questions that I raised. I said to them, you're all going to present for 2 minutes on 2 things. One, things that you cannot discuss with your partner, but you can discuss with friends. And you're going to present about things that you can discuss with your partner, but you cannot discuss them with friends. I said everyone is going to have 2 minutes of presentation. And I think by doing that, I chased most of the men away. But I'm not going to apologize for that. We must speak out. But without a waste of time, I just want to welcome those who are participating, and thank you for your time. And how we are going to do it is to allow participants just to mention one thing that they cannot discuss with their partner, but they are comfortable discussing that thing with their friends. And after that, they will mention one thing that they are comfortable discussing with their partner, but they cannot discuss it with friends. And after collating those things, we'll give it over to Mfundisi Moyo to give us wisdom on how to handle these issues, especially issues that we cannot discuss them with our partners, either wives or girlfriends, but we're comfortable discussing them with friends. And also, he will give us wisdom on things that we can discuss with friends and not discuss with our wives. Without a waste of time, who wants to go first and mention things that he can discuss with a friend but cannot discuss with a partner? And please feel free.
Before Sediko, before we can engage, are we live on Facebook?
Yeah, but I want to check that if colleagues are comfortable for us to be live. If they're not comfortable, you can switch off.
probably.
Now I don't have. Sorry
You
for
don't have a
this.
problem.
Good morning.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem.
You don't have a problem of us being live discussing these things. So thank you, Mabaz. Paul. Lenane Somatswalo, we're on Facebook, we discuss this thing publicly.
No, I want to talk to God.
Okay, thank you so much. Pastor Moyo, are you having a different view?
No, I'm fine.
Yeah. The reason we're doing these things, colleagues, is to encourage our fellow our fellow friends to speak about these various things. And if you have not warned your partner that you're going to be in a discussion, it's good. You can even tell your partner to log on and check that now we're discussing these issues. We want to start building a nation. And by building a nation, men must be empowered to speak out. We can now start. Who's ready to start? On the things that, just one thing that you're not comfortable discussing it with your partner, but it's easy for you to discuss it with your friend. You're on mute, Pastor. You're on mute.
I'm saying I don't see. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, guys. I'm saying I don't see you on Facebook. Are you sure you're live?
Yeah, I can see myself on my page.
Are you live on your page or on your account?
On my account. What I can do, let me tag you.
Please. Thank you.
Without a waste of time, who's ready to go first, gents? Who's ready to go first? Are you chickening out?
No, Sediko.
Hey.
No, I think Mr. Mawaso should just present because now I prepared something different.
Okay.
I just joined
no, it's fine. It's fine. I'm sure.
Yes. If he's ready, he can present.
Are you ready, Mr. Mabaz?
No, thanks, leadership. We are always ready.
Thank you, leader.
We are always ready to discuss issues that affect our people and our country at large. Let me start by saying good morning, everyone. Greetings to all members for this real first virtual men conference. Leadership, Sediko, thank you for the opportunity to discuss issues with our brothers and the loved one. Much appreciated. Greetings to the husbands and boyfriends, family. I have prepared something. I'll just have to go through it. You'll pardon me, leadership. I think in 1 or 2 minutes I'll be done.
No, it's okay. You can take your time. You can take your time, Mr. Mabaz.
Yes, I'll just have to share my story, and then the answer to your question will be in the story that I'm going to share.
Okay.
Yes. Firstly, it's like when I was a boyfriend before, because now I'm a husband. When I was a boyfriend, I was so defensive. I could not express my true feelings or desire to any lady. My pride was always at stake. In most cases, it has always been a barrier to my true happiness in relationship. And that is the reason why I had no relationship that lasted for a long time. When I was a boyfriend, I could not have a relationship for 3 months, 6 months. If I had a relationship that lasted to 6 months, I usually celebrated because that was my problem, because I could not open up to ask who I am. Remember when I'm from a very disadvantaged background. And as a man, you always appear weak to women when you don't have the necessary things to
Mabaso, I think we have lost you there. Moyo? Colleagues, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
I think we have lost Mabaso.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems so.
Yeah, let's wait for a minute. Maybe he'll come back. I think it's a network problem. But in the meantime, while you are waiting for him to come back, the reality of life is that as men, sometimes we face challenges that through our own upbringing, we are not trained to speak out if we are facing challenges. As a person myself, I had some challenges in my relationship, and I had to go out and look for assistance. And I can confirm that I met Pastor Moy on Facebook, but I had to engage him to a level where he has to drive down to Pretoria to come and resolve my challenges that I was facing. So we should not shy away from requesting assistance when we are facing challenges. I requested Moyo to come and intervene by giving a word of wisdom. I think Mabaso is back.
Yes, my apology, leadership.
It's okay. It's okay,
I don't know what
Mabaso.
happened. My network just cut me off.
Yeah, you can continue.
Okay. Before Mabaso continues, Sediko,
Yes.
is it possible that you can copy the link and share it, the
Yes.
Facebook link, and share it on my WhatsApp, because I don't seem to find anything from Facebook.
Okay. No,
Thanks.
I'll do that. Mabaso, you can continue.
Yes, can I continue?
Yes.
Yes, my apology because of the network. Yeah, I was saying, before I start off, as I was saying, my deficiencies were always mine. In all my past relationship I have had. Yes, I'm just disturbed by the noise. I don't know where to get
Yes. Continue.
Can my social mute?
Yeah,
Yes.
you can continue, Mabaso.
Okay. Yes, but when you are on the street with my gents, they will make you feel weak. If you express your problem to them, they will tell you that but it never came handy to my past relationship for me.
Yeah.
I do not have any experience of being physical with any lady. When I had to feel that why I should I walked out of the relationship. There was this lady once I dated that she told me that I should beat her up because she made me angry. I was shocked and walked out of the relationship. I was raised well, my leader. My father always treated my mother well and with respect. So I turned out well. And thanks to my father, because he sat me down one day and asked me a question that what type of man should get married? I was frustrated and I did not have the answer. He said, you see me, I tell your mom everything. And I interjected him and said, but she's your wife, you married her. He continued and said, when you fight a real one about your problem, when you find the real one that you want to get married to, be honest with yourself and be yourself in that relationship about your problems, like financial problems. Most boyfriends try so hard to impress women, to make them believe that they can afford nice things. They take out loans and to take a woman for a lunch or an outing in a hotel. That my father told me, don't fall into that space. Forget about he said I must forget about my pride and be honest in the relationship. And my honesty will be the backbone of my relationship. And most of my friends used to complain to me that their girlfriends used their weaknesses against them. They have broken up because these ladies throw the same problems that the men are opening up to them, to their face. But in most cases, we bottle up as men, and that equals to lack of intimacy for most of men. But my humble request will be that as men, we should open up, and then we should open up about our issues. But men in nature can talk if given a correct platform like this one. The question will be, what is the point to remain in a relationship where you cannot share your deepest joy and suffering in that relationship? But it is not easy for us as men to talk about these issues, especially most financial issues, leaders. Most men don't open up to a relationship. You enter into a relationship with the impression that you can afford to take your wife to lunch, you can afford to buy her nice things. When you get married, you are in debt. So you don't know how to continue with that. Then when the wives find out that my boss cannot afford to take me lunch, that's what most divorces comes from that. I think men should open up about their financials, because that is the most difficult challenges we're facing as a country. And if you enter into a relationship like with the impression that you can afford, then the lady finds out that you cannot afford, then most men turn up to be violent, abusive to their ladies. Let me cut my story short, leadership. I hope you will have found the answer in my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mabaso. I think what you raised is a story of some men also, whereby you grow up in a family background where you don't have resources, but then you hang around with friends who have got resources and they can take care of their girlfriends. And you find out when it's difficult for you to take care of your girlfriend. And sometimes it's even difficult to get a relationship, because at high school sometimes you will find girls who cannot date you if you don't have some resources. They'll always follow people who are coming from families that have got resources. And that also affects your self-esteem as a person. And it affects you when you grow up. But also as men, we are guilty of that. There are some men who takes a decision not that they're not going to date any woman who comes from poor background. There are such men who says, no, I'm not going to date any person who's coming from a poor family background. And before we delve deep into your story about so and call in Fundis, we'll allow Mashwesho to share his part, and then we can have a discussion. Paul.
No, thanks very much towards and greetings to all participants. I think Mabaso touched quite a number of issues. Then I have two only. When coming to sharing, brothers, we normally share a number of things. But the problem is, I think we're having two problems: the sexual challenges and the financial problems. We normally hide our pay slips. We don't be transparent, especially when coming to how much do we earn, how can we make extra money, because we believe we must take this other few cents to somewhere. I'm not sure if I can say it, girlfriends and others. So I think it's really challenge when coming to finance, and also the issue pride, because we feel like if you don't have money or you're having sexual problems, you'll go out and tell friends, then it will be an embarrassment. However, we are going to talk on number of issues. My interest was on this one here, GBV.
Yes.
I'll also request Muruti to maybe step into it, because it's one other challenge that is affecting our society, especially when coming to raising our children. You may find that they think it's normal for a man to beat a woman, and it's the only solution every time we're encountering challenges. And also, if we don't address these things, Sediko, I think it will affect us very negatively. Especially when Mashweshe is beating his wife, Makile and now is the solution. So you can imagine how rapidly it can spread across the society. So my interest was on this one of GBV. Maybe Muruti could also type on it, then I think that's it, Sediko. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Mashweshe. On the issue of the pay slip, I can confirm that you might not be the only one.
Yes.
Yeah. Not so long, I had that problem also of not being open when coming to how much am I earning and how much am I spending until kids came up, and now I can easily give them my card for them to go and do whatever they want to do. It's not a long time that I started giving people my bank card to go and use it, to go and use it for their own things. I've always been very cautious in terms of giving away my bank cards. But I think I was softened by my daughter, because she'll always say, "Papa, where is your card?" Then I had to give it. And since then I'm used to that they can just take a card and go and use it. On the issue of the GBV, we need to be very vigilant and unapologetic when coming to the GBV. When you see your neighbor doing it, don't say it does not concern me because it's happening in my neighbor's house. You need to stand up and condemn him. If you see your friend doing it, you must have courage to condemn him. If you see your relative doing, you must have your courage to condemn him. In fact, we must reach a stage whereby we can discuss anything, the same way we discuss soccer, the same way we can discuss Orlando Pirates, Kaizer Chiefs, Sundowns, and others. That should be the spirit of us discussing each and every topic under the sun. If you can be able to establish supporters fan club for Amazulu, supporters fan club for Sundowns, supporters fan club for Chiefs or what, and we hire combis to go to the stadiums, what stops us to establish supporters fan clubs to discuss issues that affect men? And we meet and discuss those issues, because we've got ability to mobilize, but we mobilize for things that sometimes are for fun, but they don't touch on life. We can mobilize for sports, we can mobilize for parties, we can mobilize for other things, but you cannot mobilize issues that are touching life. We cannot mobilize on why can't we establish a club, supporters club or whatever club, that will take time to teach us about financial management. So that once we meet once every Every 2 weeks, we talk financial management. We've got society that helps each other to get married. But we don't use, we can transform those societies or organizations also to tap into helping each other addressing our personal problems like financial challenges and social challenges. We should not just use those societies to wait on the day that Mabaso is going to get married, then we buy suits and go and be a Mastroy and come back. But in between, we don't engage each other on issues. So we have got capacity to mobilize, but we don't mobilize for reasons that really impact on our personal development. Over to you, Mfundis. Muruti.
Thanks, Sediko. Greetings to everyone.
You are muted, Muruti.
Am I? No, I'm not.
We can't hear you.
No. Can you hear me?
We can't hear you, Muruti.
Oh. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes. We can't hear you, Muruti.
I don't know what's happening.
We can't hear you.
On my side is loud and clear, Sediko.
We can't hear you.
Yes, Sediko. Tubas.
I think the problem is with Sediko.
Yes, I think so.
Tabitha, can you hear me?
Muruti, you are using two gadgets. One of the gadgets is muted, and I cannot unmute it. Unmute it from your side.
Can you hear me now?
No, still we can't hear you.
I don't know what's happening. Hello?
Let's wait for Muruti to sort out his gadgets. And we've lost in Mabaso. We are remaining with Mashwefe. It's only the two of us now. Let's wait for Muruti to come back. We have lost in Muruti. Is coming in.
Hello?
You,
Sediko?
Pastor Moyo?
Yes, can you hear me now?
I think you've got a challenge with your audio. We can't hear you.
But my audio is fine as I'm speaking right now. How is it now?
Can you hear him, gents? Or maybe it's only me. Can you hear him?
Yeah, I can hear him now. Now I can hear him.
No, he's audible.
I think it's only me.
Sediko?
Yeah. Yes, I can hear you now.
Perfect.
Yes.
There's a lot that you guys discussed or you just said that I want to deal with. First and foremost, I need to put just one scripture that you must put in that should be your foundation. That is Genesis 1, verse 26, 27, 28. It says, in the beginning, God created man. When you continue reading the scripture, it says, he created he. That's the key word. He created he, them, male and female. So the meaning is that in the beginning, God created both male and female. Now, that is why the issue of being a superior over a woman doesn't work, because they were created equal, but their roles are not equal. Their functioning is not equal. Their behavior, their thinking, and whatsoever is not equal. But in terms of being a human being, they were created equal. That's what the Bible says. However, there are a few things that I want us to check. I'll be very short. But we like to say, I'm gonna be short and take an hour. So I won't do that mistake. Before you can even address all the issues that are affecting both male and female, husband and wife, boyfriend and girlfriends, you must first put this thing into its perspective, that we are equal, but our roles and responsibilities are not equal. That's number one. Number two, we must lay a foundation that says, whose responsibility is it anyway to sustain the relationship? Because if you don't put that foundation, you'll find yourself changing women like nobody's business, or changing men like nobody's business. But in this case, we're talking about husbands and boyfriends. But you need to lay that foundation. Unless you lay that foundation, you find yourself in a space whereby you give up when it comes to relationships. The reason why you are giving up is because you lost the foundation. Now, each and everything that you're doing on planet Earth, it must have its foundation. And when the foundation is weak, that thing will never survive. Why it won't survive? Because me as a Christian, or as a religious person, we believe that each and every union of two people will always have an outside attack. So now when this outside attack comes in, what happens is that if the foundation is not strong or solid, the relationship that these two people are trying to build will be destroyed because of the pressure or the storm that is coming from outside. So if you start a relationship and you are becoming a boyfriend, or you are getting married and become a husband, your responsibility is to make sure that you lay a solid foundation. Now, I want to check just a few things that I want to mention. I want us to check a male's orientation towards life. Now, to the outward. And also, we'll look that of a female. Number one, a male is very explorative in nature. He wants to discover things. Number two, a boyfriend or a husband has within himself or has a determination to deliver what is good, whether to a girlfriend or to a wife or to your family, your kids, you have that determination that I wanna do good. I wanna spoil her. It's within a male species. It's not something that was instilled or installed by the outsiders. When you are born with it. Number 3, in a good sense, a male is opportunistic. Number 4, a boyfriend or a husband has this thing that says, what's next? He's anxious. What will happen? Number 5, if I'm not mistaken, a man is an initiator. In fact, number 5 should be number 1. A man is an initiator. 6, number 6, it's something that we need to zoom in closely someday, because it's good, but also it's bad. A male is active, 1, 2, and aggressive. Now, the aggressive part, when people are not aware, has a tendency of introducing what you call a gender-based violence. By the way, towards my conclusion, I'm going to talk about what Hassan asked me to talk about, the issue of gender-based violence. That we need to talk about. But we must talk about it holistically, but at the same time, we must bring in the issue of being Christians, of being religious. Let me put it that way, because not everyone is a Christian. Number 5, or number 7, a man is competitive and dominant. Don't forget that. It's in your nature to dominate. Well, of course, our counterpart can do that, but it's not in their nature to dominate. But let's go to a woman's perspective. That's tend to be more inwardly directed. Remember, ours it's outward directed. With them, it's inwardly directed. Females, they are confidently enticing in their nature. We're not. And you can check that for yourself, check your partner. Because before you can become a better boyfriend, or before you can become a better husband, you must understand that they are confidently enticing. And you must understand that. Number 2, our partners, they value intimacy above action. That's what I'm trying to say. They value intimacy more than action. Now, before I can speak about the inward directed issues about the perspective about women, let me give you something that is very interesting. There are 2, I always say there are 2 things that you must do to a woman. 1, you must love her, and 2, you must give her a good sex. Those 2 things will make them stay. But it doesn't mean you are superior to her. Oh, guys, can you still hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I don't, yeah.
All right. Number 2, there are 2 most important things that must be checked all the time. Number 1 is that, how to put this thing? I'm trying to find a better wording for what I'm trying to say. However, okay, I'll come back to that towards my conclusion. Let me finish about a woman. Number three, our partners are wisely receptive. Don't underestimate that. They are wisely receptive. Well, selectively though, because you must also indicate that. Number four, they seek security. Number five, they prefer modesty. They are caring. They are good with words. They desire equity and submission. They desire. Now, I wanted to give you those few points that you must think of. Then coming back to a man. This is how a man also is being created by the master, the creator himself. A man is like this. A man prefers to be in a solitary confinement. But your partner doesn't want that. What do I mean by solitary confinement? I mean, for a male, it's easier to say when your partner comes to you and says, we need to talk. A man will be like, okay, not just we need to talk. Maybe they say, I want us to go for hiking. Sorry about that, guys. There are people that are trying to call me now. I get disturbed. Now, when your partner says, let's go for hiking, a man will quickly say, I'll think about it. Now, thinking about it, he goes into a cage. He goes into a solitary confinement. Now, when he goes to a solitary confinement to think through, what happened is that it's good when he does that, to go into a solitary confinement. But the problem is when he can't come out of that cage. Remember, in that cage, a man is alone. There is no one. But your partner doesn't do that. Your partner wants to talk about issues now. He will ask you something, he wants an answer now. But you want to go to a solitary confinement. You want to think about it. You want to think through. That is why you'll find that most males commit suicide more than females. It is because of that solitary confinement. I don't want to talk about the issues of peer pressure. I don't want to talk about the issues of your upbringing, even though your upbringing plays a crucial role in your stage of becoming a boyfriend or a husband. Now, let's come back to an issue of gender-based violence. Do you know that most men are abused by their partners, but they don't come out and say, I'm being abused? The difference between the two, and Sediko, these things, you guys who are dealing with gender-based violence, you must confront it. The difference is that a male is more masculine. Now, if a male retaliates, he becomes more dangerous because of the masculinity. But if you can sit down and do your thorough research, you'll discover that most men are being abused. Now, but how do you then come to a point where you deal with the issue of gender-based violence? This is what we need to do as a society, as leaders of society and everybody else that is involved. We need to start a new layer as this generation. a layer that says, I'm going to be a good boyfriend irregardless of my upbringing, because your background shapes who you are right now. You are what you are because of your background. You are being shaped by your mamalumes, if you grew up in an extended family, your aunts, and if you grew up in a family whereby a father is abusive, you are being shaped by that. So one or the other, these people are affecting what is happening in your life today. But you have a responsibility to say, well, I've been shaped by them, so what should I do? Should I continue like them? No, firstly, I'll need a spiritual help. Two, I'll need a professional help. Because those two things combined together, they will assist you to become a better boyfriend and a better husband. Now, we need to then now begin to talk about almost everything that is affecting us. Now, here is the danger. To whom are you speaking to? Because yes, you can speak with your partner. But here is the thing. After 5, 6, 7 years together, then things start to take a different, or start to take a detour. What will happen? Are you guys, is she strong? Have you trained her enough to say, when tough gets going, I won't go out there and tell people that my boyfriend is like this. She has confided to me and whatnot and whatnot. I'll bring this case deliberately. Here we have a means of transport who was doing well with the wife, and what is happening today? She is prepared out of anger to go out there and spill the beans. That is the problem. That is why most men cannot confide to their partners, because they feel that when things are not okay, she'll go out and tell the world. That is why most men, they prefer to go to a solitary confinement to think through. And once a man decides to do that, there's nothing the partner will do, because the man has locked himself in this state and he don't want to be disturbed. Some of them, when they leave this solitary confinement, they come out with anger, because a lot of things are boiling out when you are alone. And the problem is that we don't have mentors. We don't have fathers. And most people who are not here, who ran away, you'll find out that they are absent fathers. And as you are doing that, you are creating another layer whereby you'll always find them doing the very same thing that you're doing, or even more. So the biggest issue that we need to address is the issue of solitary confinement. Another thing, that I want to talk about, your peers. I grew up in an environment whereby when you go and tell guys, this and that happened to me, and I don't know what to do, they'll laugh at you. And tomorrow you're a laughing stock and you're a joke. So if we want to deal about talking out, the question that we must address is to whom? Who is ready to listen to us as males as we are talking? And the answer is none, Sediko. No one is ready to listen, because you'll become a laughing stock. That is why we grew up people saying to us, Indodaikali. We grew up in that environment where we are told that into the can. We grew up in an environment you are feeling the pain, but at the same time, he or she is saying, shut up. Now, as a male, we are not emotional. We are not emotional beings. By nature, we are not emotional beings. Now, you are a child, you are being beaten up, but the words that you are hearing is that, shut up. Even when you are old, that thing will affect you psychologically. You must shut up. You can't talk. Then we must create a platform. We must create not groups, because you'll never get an understanding of each and every member in that group, why they're in that group. Others are in that group to spy on others, to go out and tell the others that, hey, this man is weak. He cries now and then. Well, what about Abafundis? Maybe we can go to them, but in our days, Abafundis, we are the worst in our society. We are rapists, we love money, and so on and so forth. But we need to talk. But the question, to who? Because that's the question we must always bring into our understanding, that I want to talk, but to whom? Now, I always say prayer is important. You go to your father and say, Father, this is the problem I'm facing. Talk to him until he reveals someone that you can go and confide to. Because this thing of going to a cage is dangerous. Most men are living in cages, in solitary confinement, and they are danger to our society. And that is why the issue of gender-based violence cannot be dealt with, Sediko, right now, until we are able to release men from solitary confinement. As long as they are in cages, we'll talk about gender-based violence for the next 100 years. We must remove them from solitary confinement. I am not promoting gender-based violence. I am not. It's barbaric. It's a barbaric act. You are a monster when you do that. But the problem is, most men, as we're speaking right now, they want to talk, but they cannot. They are afraid. They have fears. Remember, I gave you a few things that you must always consider about the outward and the inward. Before you can address all these other issues, you must first put these things together. After putting them together, understand a male, understand a boyfriend, understand a husband. When you've done that, understand a girlfriend, understand a wife. And when you've done that, it will then be easier that these two people, the boyfriend and the girlfriend, will have a smooth relationship. Because someone came in, I always say, guys, each and every relationship in this country needs a mentor or needs a mentorship. Relationships are like this because no one is there to talk about these few things that I've spoken about. The male orientation towards life, that it's outward. But with women, it's inward. So these two people, they come together, they have no idea who is this man that I'm dating. They have no idea that this man that you are dating was somehow verbally abused while he was still young. And there's an anger boiling inside. They don't have an idea that this girlfriend that you are dating was somehow raped while she was young. She has an anger boiling inside. And we focus when we are in relationships, and that's why we can't talk more. When we need to talk, when we have to sit down and talk, the only thing that takes place are our emotions. And we get intimate, and we forget about what happened. And life goes on as if everything's fine. It's not fine. 90% of relationships in this country are suffering from these things that I've talked about. That is why we can't share our pay slips, because we are in a sort of confinement. When she finds out that I'm earning 5,000, she'll leave me for a man that is earning 10,000. That's the problem. I fear that when she finds out some stuff about me, she will leave me. And little did we know that some of them are not prepared to do that. They want to build with you. And by the way, the Bible says, he who finds a wife has received favor. Now, the problem, you must find that favor. Because not every female is a wife and not every man is a husband. Not every man is a boyfriend. Because others, this thing of becoming a boyfriend was destroyed a long time ago. He's just doing it for sex or for money. So we need to understand these things. In my conclusion, let us remember that we can only deal with issues of boyfriends, husbands. I want to put it in a good context. You never right now deal with the issue of patriarchy. If you want to deal with the issue of patriarchy, Sediko, you need to address the issue of that I was talking about, Genesis 1, 26, 27, 28. The issue of equality, that we are created equal, but our roles and responsibilities are not equal. And two, if you want to fight for economic equalities, you must remove a sense that says man is superior. You must remove that. In all energy that you have, remove the idea that says men are superior and women are inferior. Remove that. The issue of masculinity, it's also something that you must remove. But how do you remove it? You will remove it by making this emphasis that I'm making right now. We were created equal, but our roles and responsibilities are not equal. The issue of roles and responsibilities is something that we'll talk about some other day, because the roles and responsibilities, remember that, okay, the roles and responsibilities have created a sense that says, that means as a man, I'm superior. No. The issue here is the roles and responsibilities. We must bring some balance. But before you can deal with these, rhetorics about what to do and what not to do and all that, you must first address the issue of superiority and inferiority. Address that, and address that scripturally. Because we go to, in our churches, especially we as Christians and even Islamic religion, we have this tendency of thinking that God is a male. There's no gender with God. So now, because God is a male, and he says, let us create man in our image, that means that he's talking about each gender, does not talk about gender. It is talking about the roles and responsibilities. Let us create men, male and female. People must read the scripture carefully. The Bible says he created them, male and female, in the beginning. But the first role was a male role, to look at everything and say, everything is beautiful. But the man was born. And then God said, let me make a suitable helper. And this thing of being a helper is misunderstood again. We'll talk about that some other time. I don't want to be long. I wanted to share those few things with you guys. Hope I've made sense. Thanks, Sediko.
Thank you so much. There was a question that came from one of the member about we are coming from different culture and coming from different culture, and when you enter a relationship, you meet with someone from a different culture, and the question is that how do you now find a middle ground? And before I give it to Mfundis, my view is that when you meet the two of you, Sediko and the partner coming from different cultural background, you create your own culture. You become one and now create your own culture of your family. You're not bringing the culture of your family and the culture of a family, and now you have got different cultures in your own house. Both of you must create your own culture and values and principles of your own family now. But without a waste of time for this, I have jotted things that we have been saying, which we will call them resolutions. I don't know if colleagues want to ask questions before we go to resolutions. Is there anyone who wants to ask a question to Mfundis, a direct question or what? Anyone who wants to ask a question?
No, we appreciate the presentation leadership.
No, thank you, Mabaso. Now we'll go to.
I'm covered to us.
Okay, thank you so much. We'll go to what we'll call them resolution, and I'll also paste them in my Facebook page after we've refined them, and we must share them. The same way those who have got these imaginary conferences are sharing their resolution, that sometimes are direct undermining of women and girls. They share those things, proudly so. We must start sharing our resolution. I said our resolution number 1 is that as men, we acknowledge that men are not superior. They are equal to women with different roles and responsibilities. That's the resolution that we are taking. We acknowledge that men are not superior. They are equal to women with different roles and responsibilities. That's the resolution number 1. Resolution number 2 is that as men, we will be good mentors to the younger generation. We take that resolution that ourselves who are part of this, we are going to be good mentors to our younger brothers, ourselves. Thirdly, we are saying as men, we will honestly love and be open to our partners. 4, as men and as spiritual beings, we will always seek spiritual guidance in our lives. And the last one we said, as men, we will always seek professional help. Is there anything that I'm leaving that we should add to these resolutions? Anything that I'm leaving that you think I must add to this resolution? So it means we agree on 5 key resolutions that we have taken today. 1, as men, we acknowledge that men are not superior and they are equal to women with different roles and responsibility. As men, will be good mentors to the younger generation. As men, will honestly love and be open to our partners. As men and as spiritual beings, will always seek spiritual guidance in our lives. As men, will always seek professional help. There's a proposal that we share, comment via email post this session. We'll share these resolutions, yes, to all those who have registered, because I've got your emails. I'm going to share this resolution through an email, but I'll also post them on my Facebook page for people just to copy and then you can share. And lucky enough, all of you have got your numbers. Those who are in this group, I'm a very good person in keeping numbers. All of you have got numbers. I'll also send you this resolution through your WhatsApp, and let's spread them. Let's spread them and be proud that on this day, on the 13th of February, we had our first National Conference of Boyfriends and Husbands. It doesn't matter the number of the people who attended, but it's the content that we have discussed today. We have learned, and Mfundisi, thank you so much for availing yourself. And thanks, Mabaso, Mashoesho Matala, for also participating, because in sharing, we empower each other. We've got our own imperfect ways of doing things. We all have imperfections. But if we share, we can learn from each other. I learn from Pastor Moyo. I learn from Mabaso. I learn from you, Mashoesho. I learn you from Matala. It's not a matter of age. If we meet and we share, we continuously learn. And I want to appreciate you guys for taking your time. When we started, I thought we are few, it means you're going to cancel, but I've got something in me. I'm very optimistic about life. I told Mfundisi that even if we were two, me and him, we were going to continue and discuss it. Because it's not about the numbers, it's about the content that we're discussing. And when you start fire, it starts small, you keep the light and it will burn. With all this resolution that we've taken, we'll spread them around and share it with our younger brothers, our own peers, and say, guys, we had the real conference. And in that conference, we've taken this resolution. And next year, we'll then decide, really look at this conference, and for us as individuals, and report back and say, guys, we've taken this resolution in 2021. How far am I as Sediko on this resolution? Because we must hold each other accountable. We must hold each other accountable as men. And colleagues, please feel free. If you want the contact numbers of one of us who are here, for instance, if you want the contact number of Pastor Moyo, for you to have a online discussion with him, feel free. Contact him and say, please, can I have an offline discussion with you when you have got problems. If you want number Yamabaso or no, you want more advice on certain things, feel free to get the number now. If you want Yamashoesho or Matlala, feel free, so that we can start even communicating offline to say, they have got this problem, my brother. And that's how you do mentorship. When you do mentorship, you now speak in a smaller group or one-on-one to say, Rakolote, today I've got these challenges. How can I resolve them? Then Rakolote can say, I don't have solution for that, but let me check someone who can give us an advice. That's how we must start building each other. Before I close, I'll give all of you an opportunity to say something. For a minute to say something, then we can consider closing. Over to you, colleagues. I'll give each and every one of you a chance to say something. There is a request of Pastor Moyo's numbers. Pastor Moyo, please type your numbers on the chat box so that every person can see them. There's a request for your numbers there, Pastor Moyo. Please type your numbers on the chat box so that every person can see your numbers. Thank you so much. Those are the numbers there. Those are the numbers there. Now I'm giving each and every one of you an opportunity to say something in a minute or half a minute before I officially close.
Mabaso. Mabaso leadership.
Yes, Mabaso.
Yeah, and mine was just to thank everyone who participated in this session, and then appreciate the knowledge and the wisdom shared by Pastor Moyo. We will take the knowledge out there and share with other men in whatever platform that we get. We will always preach what the pastor was saying, that the confined space that men find themselves in, it's dangerous. So we'll preach the word out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mabaso. Others, everyone is compelled to say something before we close. That's the best way to start talking. You can't just say, you must say yours. Mashoesho. Uchabile. Matala? Matala? You see, if you're given a platform to say something in a very confined space, it's going to be difficult for you to say something in open space. If you can't say anything here now, I'm worried. Matala? Okay. Pastor Moyo, closing words.
Okay, thanks Sediko. Ngifuna ukuvala ngokuthi we have a role in our society, and our role is that we must make South Africa better. But how do we do that? We do that by making sure that as an individual, you're becoming a better person. Don't expect to see a change in society when you've never contributed for that change. That's not a change. If you want to see our young girls, want to see our partners, whether girlfriends or wives, becoming better in a society, we must make sure that we ourselves as men, we are better people. If we are not, remember when you build using everything that you have in your system, including your emotions, including your psychological being, including your soul. So if those two things are not in its rightful place, you are not able to build a good society. And remember, building a society doesn't mean you go out there and build a society. It means you start from here, where you are. You start with your girlfriend, you start with your wife, you make her a better person. As I think they also have their own conferences where they talk that, hey, we must make our boyfriend better, our men better, and all that. But we are talking about men. You as a man, in order to see a change in a society, you must make sure that there's a change in your own life. And how do you bring about change in your own life? You run away from things that will make you a monster. Run away from solitary confinement. Speak out. A lot of things that you need to do, but build yourself, be a better person as an individual, so that you'll be able to build another person to become a better person. And then when two people, the culture that Cindy was talking about, when that culture has been created and is well built, that culture will have a baby. And that baby and that culture will go outside to the society. And when they're in the society, they are a better person. And people will look at them and say, this is what life must be. We want to be like these people. Then you have a better society. So the best thing that you can do, build yourself up. Thanks, Sediko.